Her very own Christmas speech on Loose Women at 12:30. Now, the latest ITV news from Granada reports in the northwest.
Good evening. It is still difficult to grasp how two teenagers lured an innocent friend to a park where they stabbed her repeatedly to live out a twisted fantasy.
Yeah, that is what happened. Brianna Ghey thought she was going to meet people she trusted, to hang out with them and have fun at Culcheth Park in Warrington back in February. But she was walking into a trap. The friends turned out to be two young people, a girl and a boy aged just 15 at the time, who'd secretly devised a list of people they wanted to kill after researching murder and torture on the dark web.
Every fact about this case is shocking, but perhaps no surprise that earlier today, after taking only 4 hours and 40 minutes to decide, a jury at Manchester Crown Court unanimously found them both guilty of Brianna's murder.
Well, our correspondent Rob Smith is at court and joins us now. Rob, the jury have heard some truly harrowing evidence.
Yes, and even truly harrowing perhaps isn't a strong enough way of describing it. Brianna Ghey's loved ones gasped, cried and hugged each other as the two teenagers who murdered her were found guilty today. Two teenagers we still can't identify for legal reasons tonight, who were obsessed with taking someone's life, obsessed with seeing someone die in front of them. For months, they had plotted against a list of targets in lurid, gory detail, writing it down in message after message, even handwritten notes. They took a hunting knife, a photo of that made public by the police. They took that knife to the park that day, and Brianna simply didn't stand a chance against the pair of them. A warning, this report contains details you may find distressing, as well as flashing images. Leaving home for the last time, Brianna Ghey thought she was going to a friendly hangout. The 16-year-old who sparkled and danced online was wary and full of anxiety in real life. So an invite to Culcheth Linear Park near Warrington in February meant so much. But there was no friendship here. She was stabbed to death at a bench by two people who just wanted to see her suffer.
Brianna was larger than life. She was funny, witty and fearless. We miss Brianna so much, and our house feels empty without her laughter. To know how scared my usually fearless child must have been when she was alone in that park with someone that she called her friend will haunt me forever.
Brianna's murderers were teenagers themselves, aged 15, a boy and a girl we can't ID for legal reasons, who fed off each other's warped minds. Months of sick messages combined with a fascination for serial killers and torture. They compiled a kill list with handwritten murder plans. Brianna was one of them. The girl said the trans teenager was prettier, so she had to die. The boy used vile transphobic language. When an attempt to poison Brianna failed, they picked the park as somewhere to stab her. The first time she was invited, Brianna didn't show up, initially saving her life. So they asked again. This place wasn't empty when Brianna's killers finally got her here that Saturday afternoon. But they didn't care. They'd picked a code word to drop into conversation to start the attack. And it didn't stop until Brianna had been stabbed 28 times.
I don't think many of us have ever seen the level of depravity shown, the hatred towards Brianna and others for no reason whatsoever, and just that thirst for kill from two 15-year-olds. That was really disturbing. We never built this case around a transgender element. This was about the murder of a young, vulnerable girl. We obviously know that there was that kill list which had 5 people on it. Brianna was one of them. Brianna was the only person on that list who was transgender. I think it was Brianna's availability or accessibility that led to her being a victim on that day.
Psychologists believe the mindset of Brianna's murderers is incredibly rare. Dr. Dara Mojtahadi says just a handful of people are ever capable of such cruelty. So for two to find each other so young, to want to kill a list of children, is beyond disturbing.
To be willing to inflict so much harm for no reason other than wanting to experience murder is harrowing. It's very scary. It's rare amongst adults, let alone children. I'm sure many teenagers have a list of people they don't like, and you know what people that they're going to get back, but not through drawing them out and murdering them.
Planning Brianna's murder involved research in the darkest corners of the web. Cyber expert Nikki Danino from Lancashire is unsettled to hear of torture videos and murder methods trawled by the killers. Brianna's interaction with the internet couldn't have been more different.
It is fabulous to see Brianna online singing and dancing and looking really happy and content. And it's horrifying to think that people her age were doing something that's the complete opposite of that. More and more of the content from that dark web is now coming to the surface. People like you and I would think, right, that material's really removed from us and it's really far away and only people who really want to find it can find it. But sometimes it's quite easy to stumble upon it.
That's really disturbing.
Yeah, it's not in a different world anymore.
Thousands of people across the country stopped to honour the teenager earlier this year. The senseless loss of such a bright light in the trans community, amplified by the trial evidence.
We know the trans community across Britain is hurting a lot at the moment anyway. It's been, years of kind of unprecedented attacks on the community from politicians, from the media, from anti-trans groups. So this has kind of come at a really tough time for people, but I've seen a huge amount of sorrow for the loss of Brianna, but also a huge amount of kind of community coming together.
Brianna's schools worked with her loved ones to improve the mental health of youngsters after her death. A school where she was admired and respected by pupils and staff, where the gap she left can never be filled.
I can't possibly say really in words how reading Brianna's name, that she'd been murdered, felt. Safeguarding, you keep children safe, that's what you're here for. And on this occasion, that hadn't happened. We'd lost somebody.
But there was nothing you could have done about that.
I know, and I think that was the difficult thing to realise.
The way that she, that she did her makeup, the way that she designed things like her phone cases and her nails, you could see there that real flair, that real talent, and you could really see the person who she could have become. And I think for me, it's that really strikes and hits you. It's not just who she was; it's who she could have been as well.
A girl who could have been so much more. A girl killed by people who thought it was fun.
It's chilling. And Rob, what happens now? Presumably these defendants are both now facing life sentences.
Yeah, the judge made it abundantly clear to the pair that they will be sentenced to life. What she needs to decide is what the minimum term will be. That's the minimum number of years they will serve before they're eligible for parole. And the sentencing's been adjourned to a later date because the judge wants enough time, proper time, to consider that. It's important tonight to also consider Brianna's friends and loved ones. They have justice for her now, but they still don't have her. They have that hole in their lives. She cannot come back, and that is something that they forever have to deal with. Her dad spoke movingly outside the court.
It's impossible to put into words how the murder of my child has affected me. I never stopped loving her, and I never will. From when she was little, I remember the faces she would pull to make me laugh, a cheeky giggle, funny dances are engraved in my memory. I knew she was going to be a star, and the amount of support she received from the followers on TikTok proved this. She shared her TikTok videos with me all the time, and I was so proud of what she could do. Show me how she would do her makeup. She had such an amazing talent, and I enjoyed sharing this with family and friends.
And you only have to look at the multitude of videos that Brianna left behind on social media to see just how amazing, how bright her talent was. Just the kind of special person that these two killers have taken away.
OK, Rob Smith at Manchester Crown Court. For now, thank you.
Well, just as Brianna was targeted by two people claiming to be close to her, she was also lucky to have a circle of genuine, loyal and loving friends.
Yeah, these were classmates who saw the difficulties Brianna faced being transgender and seeking to find and explore her true identity.
They stuck by her and supported her on that journey. Our reporter Emma Sweeney spoke to three friends who mourn Brianna's loss but treasure her memory.
We first met Brianna in year 9 and I saw her in a big group of people and I was really drawn to her because she was such a diverse character.
I think most people wanted to hang out with her.
Yeah.
She was very out there, so everyone just wanted to be like, oh, I really like her, I want to be friends with her.
Ella, you've shown me a video of you with Brianna. You're kind of bouncing off each other and that a little bit. Tell me about that.
I think we were just walking to the bus stop or maybe the skate park in Birchwood. Is it
Forest Park? Yeah.
But yeah, we were just walking through there and she'd always throw the little comments like, oh, you make it look so bad. And I'd be like, I know you're not joking.
Chicken. Oh my god, I kind of look hot. Hey.
Who's messaging me? Oh, and what's he doing?
One time in year 9 I was really, really bad at makeup and I had a massive orange line going down my face and straight away she was like, what is going on with your makeup? Can I please fix it?
When she went through her hormones, am I right to think that was during COVID? So when you were off school?
Second lockdown in year 9?
Yeah, the second one.
So then when she came back to school, tell me about that.
It was incredible, wasn't it? She was like completely different. And it was
such a big glow up.
Yeah, she felt, you could just tell she was more comfortable in herself and she was so much more happier and it was just like, she was beautiful, like she was gorgeous.
And with her extensions, she wore
Oh, with the hair extensions as well.
That crazy sweetheart. And that damn stupid.
It's less than a year since all of your world's just changed overnight. Talk me through that fateful day when you realised that the person who was all over the news was your friend, Brianna.
And I just went on Google and I was like, what the hell, didn't believe it at all. I was like, that can't be like real. And I just remember I just broke down when I was shopping. I was like, and it just wasn't real. I just thought it was just a lie. It was so surreal, wasn't it?
When we went to school, it was like with like the police and then teachers were like, come on, you need to go this way. I think that's when it probably like hit me the most. I was like, oh my god, like this has actually happened.
The Monday was awful.
Yeah. Honestly, the whole aura of the school, it was just so
like a ghost
quiet.
town.
It was silent all the time around school. It was literally, words can't even explain how sad it was.
And when you realised it was two people, two 15-year-olds who were the exact same age as you, who were responsible for this, I mean, that must have been really difficult to get your head around.
I think we were all thinking about like, what we were going to do once we left high school and like our GCSEs, and then they were there thinking about that. Like, it's very, very strange and
scary.
Yeah.
Out of everyone that it could have been, obviously I wouldn't have wished it on anybody, but it was Brianna, and it was like, she didn't deserve that after everything that she'd been through already in her life. She didn't deserve that.
And you've now moved on, you're not in school anymore, you're all in college, you're young women, but your friend Brianna will forever be 16.
It's going to be weird thinking that while we're doing our courses, she could have been sat in a classroom doing someone's makeup and straightening someone's hair.
She could have been doing what she really loved, and obviously it got taken away from her. And it's just not fair at all.
No.
Do you feel angry at what happened?
Yeah. I carried a lot of anger around with me for a long time, and I'm still not really like processing it how I should. I'm trying to come to terms with it, but it's really hard.
If someone mentions high school, I think that would be one of the first things that I think about.
Yeah.
'Cause it was our last year of school, we had obviously exams going on, but then this happened, and it kind of just like disrupted everything that we had.
Like took over the whole year.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
You'll all go through your lives, maybe you'll have children, maybe you'll get married, but no doubt you will always remember your friend
Brianna, what will make you smile when you think about Brianna?
How passionate she was about how she looked.
The things that she loved, she was very passionate about, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine would probably be just, the way that she would just say it, how it was.
Yeah.
And the way that we would just bounce off each other.
Well, I want to be like her, like with how confident she was.
Yeah.
Like, just the way she acted, I just want to be like her. She was so, like, confident and just...
She was so unique.
Yeah.
She's one of a kind, literally. You won't find anyone else like Brianna.
Some lovely memories of Brianna there, and thank you so much to Ella, Emily and Eleanor for agreeing to speak to us.
Yeah, that cannot have been easy, girls. Thank you so much for sharing your memories. Well, one of the many aspects of Brianna's murder that her friends and probably most of us will struggle to understand is how two teenagers could have hatched a plot to do something so utterly despicable.
No doubt the word evil will be used to describe them, but is it that simple?
Well, to help us understand a bit more about what might have motivated these two to kill is Dr. Alison Blanchard, who joins us now. You're a psychologist and expert in personality at the University of Salford. Alison, thank you for coming today. As I say, it's really, really difficult, isn't it, to get your head round how and why these two teenagers would want to do something like this. Is there such a thing as an evil person? Is that a useful term, would you say?
I think the word evil is used to denote people who've done something particularly callous and horrifying, and it indicates to other people how you should respond to them. What is particularly callous in this incident is that obviously they've spent a long time planning something which seems particularly perplexing for everyday people, because you think at some point surely you would have gone, this doesn't feel right anymore. And what we describe this as being proactively violent rather than reactively violent, which is usually acting out under anger. So these people who engage in proactive violence are low in empathy. So when we talk about that in children, we describe that as callous, unemotional traits, and it comes from something from a temperament.
So those traits would have been visible early on in their lives? Is this something we can look out for?
Possibly or possibly not, because we know that people who are high in callous unemotional traits are very manipulative and exploitative as well. So they have this kind of air of sanity almost, as you describe it, or normality. And so it's not something you could necessarily pick out. You might just attribute some behaviour and go, oh, right, well, that's just a bit odd, but they're not going to reveal their true selves, because there's too much at stake for them to do that, and they're very goal-orientated, and in terms of whatever goal they're trying to pursue, it's very self-centred and selfish.
Well, as we were talking before, it's that lack of feeling for other people, that complete, total lack of empathy. I mean, is that what makes somebody, what we would consider, normal society, if you like, would consider to be as a psychopath?
Well, yes, it's very dangerous when somebody doesn't experience empathy. There's a failure of moral socialisation during childhood. So those opportunities for learning why somebody is upset with you, so you see them and you feel that they're upset and in distress, that's usually what stops you from engaging in that behaviour in the next time. So when that's absent, you just carry on with that behaviour, which is upsetting. You don't care. We know that children with callous unemotional traits, they don't respond to punishment. So that's why you can end up in a situation where people are talking at length about things that we find horrifying, can view footage and things that we would at some point find horrifying ourselves, but for them there's no kind of break point where they're going, I don't feel great about this.
Sure. And the fact that almost the two of them found each other amplifies the problem.
Sure, yes, it enables it, it normalises it. So at some point, if you were just keeping it to yourself, you might think it's odd if you're particularly unsure about that. So yes, I think that facilitated one person's personality style facilitated another person's personality style, and it was kind of like lighting the touch powder. It was adding petrol to the fire.
Is that a rare thing?
Yes, I think this is a very rare event, thankfully. I think when you've got somebody who people who have problems with empathy, that is a rare occasion, and thankfully so, because they're very dangerous when they emerge.
Well, as you were saying before, this lack of empathy, these were what we described in court as high-functioning individuals, intelligent, coming from a normal background. And we listen to what you say now, but it's still really difficult to get your head around how young people could want to behave in that way and take pleasure from it.
Well, everybody has morbid fascination, some to a greater degree than others, and some people might find some type of material to satisfy that curiosity. However, when you've also got the background of somebody who has an inability to feel empathy, then it just results in a situation where they just carry on with that particular type of behaviour.
Brianna's mum said today that any sympathy she did have has disappeared now. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, as I said, even though the label evil is problematic, actually, there's no reason to say that anybody should, just because if you're born with a particular temperament, that means that you're unable to experience fear in the way that other people do. Okay. That doesn't mean that then you should feel sorry for them, of course not.
We must leave it. Dr. Alison Blanchard, thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alison.
Well, just a reminder of the story that's dominating Granada reports this evening.
And it is the two teenagers, a girl and a boy, have been found guilty of killing 16-year-old Brianna Ghey in February of this year.
This is Brianna making her final bus journey. While she travelled, she texted her mum to say she was, in her words, scared about being out by herself. Her mum replied that it was good.
Neither, of course, knew that Brianna was being lured to Culcheth Linear Park in Warrington by two people intent on murder. The 16-year-old defendants, who can't be named because of their age, stabbed her repeatedly in a joint exercise they'd planned after researching murder and torture on the internet.
Well, we've had this statement from Manchester Pride this evening, who say their hearts go out to Brianna's family and her friends. They added that Brianna was just 16 and deserved a future where trans individuals live securely and with respect. But instead, her life was devastatingly cut short.
They added no amount of legal accountability can ever make up for the profound loss to Brianna's family, friends and the LGBTQ+ community. Shocking crimes such as these show how much more needs to be done to protect the trans community, enabling them to live free of fear.
Well, hopefully that is something that we can all echo.
Yeah.
And on the subject of respect and kindness to others, we're just going to play you a bit more from the statement that Brianna's mum made outside court earlier today, where she recognised the huge damage that this case has done to the families of the two defendants.
Please have some empathy and compassion for the families of the young people convicted of this horrific crime. They too have lost a child, and they must live the rest of their lives knowing what their child has done.
What an extraordinarily brave lady.
Absolutely, she is. And throughout this trial, the defendants were referred to as Girl X and Boy Y. Back now to Rob at Manchester Crown Court for a final few reflections. And Rob, we obviously can't identify these two young people, but what can you tell us about how they came across in court?
Brianna's mum said today that she never saw any remorse from them throughout this court process, any remorse from the two people who killed her daughter. Police described them as arrogant. They thought they could lie their way out of it. They could get away with it in spite of the weight of evidence against them. And I think it's very, very difficult to look at two 16-year-olds, two children, in a courtroom and reconcile what they have been looking at all of that time, torture videos, researching weapons and poisons, reconcile what they did in the end with them being children. That's what makes this case all the more disturbing. But perhaps our focus tonight shouldn't be on them. It should be on the brilliant girl, Brianna, who they took away, who should still be here.
Rob Smith, thank you. And yes, we don't want to close tonight's programme talking about those who took Brianna's life. We want to celebrate her life.
Yeah, Brianna was 16. There was so much more to her than we've heard about in court. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, described by her mum as funny, witty and ferocious, but she was vulnerable too.
Those who loved her remember a gentle and creative soul who overcame many challenges. She was just blossoming when her life was cut so cruelly short.
So we will leave you tonight with some beautiful words written by Emily, one of the friends we heard from in Emma's report.
Good night.
They say I'm sorry for your loss and that our hearts will mend. They say you're in a better place and that death is not the end. I still can't believe that all of this is real. Maybe with thoughts and time we can all begin to heal. I miss your beautiful smile, your sense of humour and the way you would laugh and joke. I miss your gorgeous sense of style and the witty words you spoke. You were never afraid to be yourself, and that we all admire. Your feistiness and sassy personality always glowed like fire. We have all cried together and cried alone. There are so many emotions for you that have been shown. I, as well as many others, wish you were still here, but with our happy memories, you will always be near. Brianna, I don't think I can put into words how amazing you were. You are wonderful to think about, yet so hard to live without. I know now that it is time for you to sleep. I just didn't think that it would be so soon. You will always be forever loved, forever missed, and always remembered. Sleep tight, our pink angel, Brianna.